Welcome to Living Beyond the Invisible, the podcast where we explore life with invisible and often misunderstood conditions. I'm your host, Heather, and today we're tackling a topic that currently affects millions of people in the U.S., and that number just keeps growing daily, and that's breast cancer. Hey everyone, so as I told you in the last episode, we would be talking about breast cancer today. And I originally thought that I would be able to get this into one episode, but due to how much information I feel I need to share, as well as my own personal story, I feel it's best to break this down into 2 episodes so that I don't feel like I'm rushing through anything. So this week we will talk about breast cancer in general, and then next week we will discuss my journey with breast cancer and how it has changed my life since the diagnosis. So let's jump right in, shall we? Breast cancer is a significant health issue and one of the most common cancers affecting women. It can also occur in men. However, it is much more rare in men than it is women. Despite the prevalence of breast cancer, there are still many misconceptions about the disease, its risk factors, and the experiences of those who are diagnosed. In today's episode, we're going to be diving into what breast cancer is. We're going to discuss some key statistics, explore the various types and stages, as well as provide insights into treatment options and prevention strategies. And I do want to make a quick side note. I know I explained what fibrofog is in the last episode. If you have not checked that out, please go do. Today, my fibrofog is kind of bad, and so I need you to bear with me and be patient. And before you ask, why don't you wait to record this episode until you're feeling better? I don't know when that will be. So this episode may never get recorded if I don't do it today. Now, breast cancer develops when cells in the breast grow uncontrollably, which forms a tumor. These tumors can either be benign, which means non-cancerous, or malignant, which means cancerous. Breast cancer most commonly starts in the cells of the milk-producing ducts, which is typically ductal carcinoma, but can also begin in the glandular tissue known as lobules or lobular carcinoma or other tissues within the breast. There are several different types of breast cancer, including the following, but there are more. Invasive ductal carcinoma or IDC. IDC is the most common type of breast cancer, accounting for about 80% of all cases. It begins in the milk ducts and invades the surrounding breast tissue. This type of cancer can spread to other parts of the body with or without treatment. The next one up is invasive lobular carcinoma or ILC. ILC starts in the lobules, which are the milk-producing glands, and spreads to the surrounding tissue. It represents about 10 to 15% of invasive breast cancers. This form of cancer may be more challenging to detect on mammograms compared to IDC. Now, ductal carcinoma in situ or DCIS. DCIS is a non-invasive cancer where abnormal cells are found in the lining of a breast duct but have not spread outside the duct. It is considered the earliest form of breast cancer and is highly treatable, though it can sometimes progress to invasive cancer if not treated. Lobular carcinoma in situ or LCIS is not considered a true breast cancer. Sorry about that. But indicates an increased risk of developing invasive breast cancer in either breast. It involves abnormal cell growth in the lobules. It typically does not form a lump and is usually found incidentally during a biopsy. Triple negative breast cancer or TNBC is a subtype of breast cancer that lacks estrogen receptors, progesterone receptors, and excess HER2 protein. It tends to be more aggressive, harder to treat, and more likely to reoccur. It's more common in younger women and women of African descent. And the last one we're going to talk a little bit about is HER2 positive breast cancer. This type has an excess of HER2 protein, which promotes the growth of cancer cells. HER2 positive cancers tend to grow and spread faster than HER2 negative cancers, but can respond well to targeted therapies. Now, these are just a few of the different types of breast cancer, but they are generally the most common types that someone could be diagnosed with. You may also be diagnosed with one form of cancer, or you could be diagnosed with more than one form of cancer. It is a common misconception that you can only have one form of breast cancer at a time. I myself was diagnosed with more than one form of breast cancer last year, but we'll talk about that in the next episode. Now let's take a moment to look at some of the key statistics and risk factors related to breast cancer. According to the National Breast Cancer Foundation, in 2024, an estimated 310,720 new cases of invasive breast cancer will be diagnosed in women in the U.S., as well as 56,500 new cases of non-invasive in situ breast cancer. There are currently over 4 million breast cancer survivors in the United States. An estimated 42,250 U.S. women will die from breast cancer in 2024, and that makes me sad. Risk of breast cancer reoccurrence depends on the type and staging of the initial breast cancer. Typically, the highest risk of reoccurrence is during the first few years after treatment and decreases over time. 1 in 8 women, or approximately 13% of the female population in the U.S., will develop breast cancer in their lifetime. Breast cancer is the most common cancer in American women except for skin cancers. It is estimated that in 2024, approximately 30% of all new female cancer diagnosed will be breast cancer. On average, every 2 minutes, a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer in the United States. Approximately 66% of breast cancer cases are diagnosed at a localized stage, before cancer has spread outside of the breast, when it is the easiest to treat. The 5-year relative survival rate for cancer diagnosed at the local stage is 99%. Approximately 15% of women diagnosed have a family history of breast cancer. Those with a first-degree relative, mother, sister, daughter, with breast cancer are nearly twice as likely to develop breast cancer themselves. Risk factors for breast cancer are separated into 2 categories, which are genetic factors and environmental factors. So let's start with the genetic factors. According to the National Breast Cancer Foundation, genetic factors are based on the following factors. Number 1, gender. Breast cancer occurs nearly 100 times more often in women than in men. Number 2, age. 2 out of 3 women with invasive cancer are diagnosed after age 55. Number 3, race. Breast cancer is diagnosed more often in Caucasian women than women of other races. Number 4, family history and genetic factors. If your mother, sister, father, or child has been diagnosed with breast cancer or ovarian cancer, you have a higher risk of being diagnosed with breast cancer in the future. Your risk increases if your relative was diagnosed before the age of 50. Number 5, personal health history. If you have been diagnosed with breast cancer in one breast, you have an increased risk of being diagnosed with breast cancer in the other breast in the future. Also, your risk increases if abnormal breast cells have been detected before, such as atypical hyperplasia, lobular carcinoma in situ, or ductal carcinoma in situ. Number 6, menstrual and reproductive history. Early menstruation before age 12, late menopause after age 55, having your first child at an older age, or never having given birth can increase your risk for breast cancer. Number 7, certain genome changes, mutations in certain genes such as the BRCA1 and the BRCA2 can increase your risk for breast cancer. This is determined through a genetic test which you may consider undergoing if you have a family history of breast cancer. Individuals with these gene mutations can pass the gene mutation on to their children. Dense breast tissue is number 8. Having dense breast tissue can increase your risk for breast cancer and make lumps harder to detect. Several states have passed laws requiring physicians to disclose to women if their mammogram indicates that they have dense breasts so that they are aware of this risk. Be sure to ask your physician if you have dense breasts and what the implications of having dense breasts are. Now let's move on to environmental factors. According to the National Breast Cancer Foundation, this includes the following factors. Number 1, lack of physical activity. A sedentary lifestyle with little physical activity can increase your risk for breast cancer. Moving your body or exercising for even 20 minutes a day can help lower this risk factor. Number 2 is a poor diet. A diet high in saturated fat and lacking fruits and vegetables can increase your risk for breast cancer. Eating 3.5 to 5 cups of fruits and vegetables a day can help lower this risk. Number 3, being overweight or obese. Being overweight or obese can increase your risk for breast cancer. This risk increases if you have already gone through menopause. Number 4 is drinking alcohol. Frequent consumption of alcohol can increase your risk for breast cancer. The more alcohol you consume, the greater the risk. Number 5, radiation to the chest. Having radiation therapy to the chest before the age of 30 can increase your risk for breast cancer. While radiation is often unavoidable therapy for certain illnesses, it is still considered an environmental or lifestyle risk factor because it is not an inherited trait that someone is born with. And finally, number 6, combined hormone replacement therapy. Taking combined hormone replacement therapy as prescribed for menopause can increase your risk for breast cancer and increases the risk that the cancer will be detected at a more advanced stage. Speak with your doctor about the benefits and the risks of HRT. So now that we've talked about the risk factors, let's talk about how breast cancer is found. It makes sense that early detection of breast cancer is crucial for successful treatment. However, that doesn't always happen. But there are several methods for detecting breast cancer. Mammograms, which is an X-ray of the breast. Mammograms are the most common and effective screening tool for breast cancer, and it is recommended that you start getting screenings at age 40 unless you are at high risk for breast cancer, then you start those earlier. Self-exams. Now, this is not a substitute for professional screening, but being aware of your breast and changes in your breast through regular exams can absolutely help. Side note, and you will learn about this later, that is how I found mine. Ultrasounds and MRIs are also great tests to indicate breast cancer. So once a potential issue is detected, they typically do a biopsy to determine whether the lump or tumor is cancerous. A breast biopsy is a test that does remove tissue or fluid from the tumor or suspicious area. And then that is examined under a microscope to check for the presence of breast cancer. It is slightly painful, but it's not too bad. Now, once diagnosed with breast cancer, it is classified into stages based on the size of the tumor, the extent of spread to nearby lymph nodes, and whether it has spread to other parts of the body. The staging system helps guide treatment decisions and provides a prognosis for you. The most commonly used staging system in the U.S. for breast cancer is the TNM system, which stands for T for tumor, size and extent of the primary tumor, N for nodes, involvement of nearby lymph nodes, M for metastases. I'm not sure I'm saying that word right, but metastases. Whether cancer is spread to the other parts of the body is what that means. Breast cancer stages range from 0 to 4 with subcategories within some stages. So here is an overview of those stages. The first stage is stage 0, which is non-invasive cancer or in situ. Stage 0, ductal carcinoma in situ, is cancer cells are confined to the ducts and have not invaded nearby tissue. And then there's also stage 0 lobular carcinoma in situ, which is where the abnormal cells are found in the lobules, indicating an increased risk of developing invasive cancer, but not considered true cancer, if that makes sense. Stage 1 is early invasive cancer. There are 2 different categories for this one. Stage 1A, the tumor is 2 centimeters or smaller and has not spread outside the breast, and no lymph nodes are involved. Stage 1B is small clusters of cancer cells are found in the lymph nodes, and either no tumor is found in the breast or the tumor is 2 centimeters or smaller. Then we have stage 2, and there are also 2 categories in this one, and this is localized invasive cancer. Stage 2A, the tumor is 2 to 5 centimeters and the cancer has not spread to the lymph nodes, or the tumor is 2 centimeters or smaller and a small cluster of cancer cells are found in 1 to 3 axillary lymph nodes, which are underarm lymph nodes, or near the breastbone. Now, stage 2B, the tumor is 2 to 5 centimeters and has spread to 1 to 3 axillary lymph nodes or near the breastbone, or the tumor is larger than 5 centimeters but is not spread to the lymph nodes. Then we have stage 3, and there are actually 3 different stages, 3 categories. This is called regional spread. Stage 3A, the tumor is larger than 5 centimeters and cancer has spread to 1 to 3 axillary lymph nodes or near the breastbone, or the tumor is any size and cancer is found in 4 to 9 axillary lymph nodes or in lymph nodes near the breastbone. Stage 3B, the tumor has invaded the chest wall or skin and may have spread to up to 9 lymph nodes. Finally, for this one is stage 3C. There is either no tumor or there could be any size tumor present and the cancer has spread to 10 or more axillary lymph nodes. Lymph nodes above or below the collarbone or to internal mammary nodes. And stage 4 is metastatic cancer. This is when cancer has spread beyond the breast and nearby lymph nodes to other parts of the body, such as the bones, liver, lungs, or brain. This stage is also known as advanced or metastatic breast cancer. And then there's also recurrent breast cancer. Recurrent breast cancer is cancer that has come back after treatment. It can return to the breast, chest wall, or other parts of the body. And I know that's a lot of information, but I really feel like it is important for you guys to know the different stages. It gives you a better understanding of things. And those are just general descriptors of those stages. And I'll explain a little more about mine in the next episode. So by knowing the stage of breast cancer, this helps doctors determine the most appropriate treatment and provides insight into the patient's prognosis. Treatment options can vary significantly based on the stage, with early stage cancers often treated with surgery and radiation, while more advanced stages may require systemic therapies such as chemotherapy, hormone therapy, or targeted therapy. Now that we know what types of breast cancer there are, how it's found, how it's diagnosed, and what stages there are, let's discuss how breast cancer is treated. Breast cancer treatment depends on the type and stage of cancer as well as the patient's overall health and personal preferences. Common treatment options include surgery, and this can range from a lumpectomy where they take only the tumor and a small margin of surrounding tissue to a complete mastectomy where one or both breasts are removed. Radiation therapy. This treatment uses high-energy rays to target and destroy cancer cells that are left behind after surgery. Chemotherapy. This involves the use of drugs to destroy cancer cells. It can be administered before surgery to shrink tumors or after surgery to eliminate remaining cancer cells. Hormone therapy can also be used for cancers that are hormone receptor positive. Hormone therapy will block the body's natural hormones from promoting cancer growth. And then there are targeted therapies. And this treatment targets specific molecules involved in cancer growth and spread, such as HER2-positive breast cancer. Someone with breast cancer may undergo one or more of these treatment options, again, depending on many factors. Please remember that it is always 100% okay to get a second opinion if you are unsure of the treatment plan your cancer team has laid out for you. So now that we've discussed all of this, you're probably wondering what life is like during and after breast cancer. For the answers to those questions, you'll have to tune in next week to the next episode. We'll discuss my personal breast cancer journey and what my life has been like since. And just a quick warning, the next episode may be a little longer than normal, so just be prepared for that. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Living Beyond the Invisible. I hope you found the insights and stories shared today helpful and inspiring. Remember, living with an invisible disability is a journey, and together we can navigate the challenges and celebrate the triumphs. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your support helps me reach more listeners and build a stronger community. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Living Beyond the Invisible for updates and additional resources. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep living beyond the invisible.